Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Stream of David and Spirituality Gone Wild and all other platforms that this is streaming live on, or you're watching the replay. I am Debbie G. This is the wonderful David Strickle. Hi, David.
Hello. What is that?
It's
You
my
have a new
toy.
toy.
I have a toy. I really do. I wanted to show you this toy because it's kind of fun. This is an energy stick. So for all of you go loading it up right now, and if you're just debating that we are not energy, I just want to tell you this energy stick here, if I let go of it, it's not going to work. If you have a room
Ah,
of you could have a room of 1,000 people, everybody has to be holding hands, one person on each side. If one person lets go, this will stop working. Kids love to play with this. If this is mine, because I already had to give one of them away to Nolan, Josie's grandson.
it
But
looks cool.
it is really cool, and it's just really neat because it proves that we are all connected.
Yeah, well, it's like grounding through your body, right?
Yeah, and then if somebody's holding your hand, like if you're holding it, if Joe were here right now, he could be holding one of my hands and touching the other end of this, and if he lets go, it stops. So just like when I let go, it stops. There's no buttons or anything. See, I'm magic with
You are
my five
indeed. But we
with
already
my
knew that without a stick.
well, the energy stick's just fun. And hi, Diane from Montreal. Nice that you are here tonight. Beautiful that you are here. I just want to mention for everybody jumping in, we are going to be talking to the stream. If you haven't experienced the stream before, it's an extraordinary time where David steps away from himself and goes into channel. And what that means is simply he is in a meditative state and allowing source conscious energy to come through. And he calls it the stream. So what I would love is for any questions at all, no matter what that it might be, to put them into the chat and I will ask. We have one to start with John Fiore, which I think looks pretty good. But before we get started with that, what else is going on with you, David? Or what is going on with you?
My
Period.
world is consumed with a new pet in my home. So, as some of you probably know, I should post some pictures in the Facebook group. Some pet pictures are always welcome. My French bulldog Lola is 5.5 years old. She is the emotional support animal for the Utaya Practice Facebook group, and she's been an only dog for her whole life.
Yeah.
And so we decided to disrupt her perfect little life because she does have a perfect life. I will say she's a very well behaved dog. She's the best behaved dog I've ever had in my life. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't chew on anything. She doesn't, well, she barks a little bit. She doesn't go to the bathroom in the house. She's just an angel. And
Mm.
she lulled me into this false sense of security that if we got another French bulldog, that it would be as good as her. And we got a 1-year-old male French bulldog and named him Rocco. We semi rescued him from a situation, semi rescued from a very loving situation, and he is well behaved, except he's not housebroken. So I'm dealing with that right now. The joy of housebreaking a pet, which means it never rains in the desert. And the other morning, 4:30 in the morning, he decided it was time to go out. So I took him outside in the rain at 4:30 in the morning and stood out there for a good 20 to 30 minutes, waiting for him to do anything. And I'm
Mm.
like, wow, it never rains in the 4:30 a.m. That I'm out here. It's raining. It's kind of funny. So
That's
that's
hilarious.
that's what's going on in my world right now. That and just all kinds of cool stuff from the stream. Lots of teachings about the matrix. We're using the term the matrix. They may not give you all of the details of the matrix. They probably will, but they are talking a lot lately about the human created matrix operating system,
Mm.
which is humanity's collective belief system, is what they're talking about when they talk about the matrix, and how we see that the matrix is polarized because we're in a polarized environment. And when you are, I'm trying not to get overly judgmental with this because we're all in it to some degree, but if you are succumbing to the matrix, you are polarized, meaning you need to be right about something and someone else needs to be wrong. You need to be on one side of an issue. You're right or you're left, or you're a vaxxer or you're an anti-vaxxer. That's all polarity. And according to source, there's no right or wrong in any of that stuff. It's all gray. Everything is vibrational. Everything is our bubble of reality and our belief system. So when you're in the matrix, you are in fear and you are operating in judgment. You are triggered. You are seeing the world and believing that it's going insane. And perhaps it frightens you. Perhaps what you're seeing on social media and the news is just like one terrifying thing after the next. That's all matrix. That's the matrix of fear and judgment. There are plenty of people who are not paying attention to any of that stuff, who are living joyous lives and who have been for the last 2 years and even before that. So if you are intrigued by that idea, if you are living in joy all the time and you are living in clarity and abundance all the time, then you are in the right place, because that's what we're all about in the Taya practice and with the Streams teachings. If you are not always there, you're also in the right place, because this is all about how to achieve that. All of their teachings are around all of that stuff. You can ask them, however, anything that you want. You can ask them about anything that you want. I will give you a little tip. When you go into the predict my future for me thing, they're not going to do that,
No.
because you're the creator of your future. You are the creator of your reality. And the idea of predicting the future is, they have summed it up to being a parlor trick. Someone's tapping into your vibration, they're feeding you an idea, that idea comes to reality, and somewhere down the road you're like, oh my gosh, that person predicted my future for me. Well, if someone is predicting your future, they have to understand they're tapping into a current vibration wherever you are in that exact moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that vibration can shift. And that shifting vibration can change your entire future in an instant. So the Streams teachings are always going to be centered around universal law. Universal law is not about having a predictable future. We are creating our future and becoming more sophisticated versions of ourselves. So that's a little crash course on the stream. So you can
Love
ask
that.
anything that you want, as long as I can understand the question, or Debbie can understand the question. You'll get an answer.
We're gonna ask away. So I just want to appreciate Melody Long, and the reason why is because you sound pretty cool. She takes photos of the Matrix. I fully get you. I love that, and I dig your questions, and I see them. And thank you, Joe, for popping in and putting a great question in as well. We have one from John Fiore, and hello to everybody. If it says Facebook user, I don't know who you are, so hello, hello, and um, I love this. So the one Facebook user says, one thing I really like about this practice is that it does not tell you who you are supposed to be. Yeah, yeah, no, that's very true.
That's
Probably a key component. Well, we're almost to 15 minutes past the hour, so it's time for us all to get started. So I'd love for you, if you're in a safe place, to go ahead and just take a deep breath, and let's make the intentions for the messages that need to come through to open up that space for it.
We are here.
Wonderful. It's so beautiful to be back in this energy. So John Thaddeus Fiore, he typed last week. I'm not sure how to ask this question, but I'd like to know the stream's view on Source's compassion for our human condition, whether it be self-compassion or compassion for others' experiences. If Source energy is pure love, how does that translate to human suffering? It seems a bit difficult to explain what I mean. Perhaps you can make an attempt to explain the best you can. Thank you, from John.
I understand that the concept of compassion, and you are also using human created words, of course, and all of your words tend to have the meaning that you give to them, and there are certainly multiple meanings for many things, and you can all define compassion differently if you so choose. You may be able to look up a singular definition of such a word, or any word, but if you assign a different meaning to it, then it truly means something different for you. When to cover the fact of our compassion, we are source energy. You all have source energy in you. The concept of compassion, however, is a human concept. The idea of compassion is part of your ego consciousness, and that does not mean that it's wrong. That does not mean that it's less than or bad or any of those things. We are not here to demonize or judge your ego any more than we are here to demonize or judge any experience that a being is having in this environment, any being. And when we are asked, do we hold compassion for humanity? We hold the very highest vibration possible for humanity as the creator of humanity, and that is authentic appreciation of humanity, deep understanding of humanity, and what you may very well identify as pure love or pure positive energy. The idea of compassion, however, would indicate some judgment, that we have compassion for your unwanted experiences, or that we have compassion for your perceived suffering. And we say perceived because all of your suffering is a perception, it is a matter of judgment. There are certainly more beings who can, two beings who can have the same experience and have it very differently. There is one that can have the diagnosis of cancer and go through treatment and have it be the most traumatic event in their lifetime. And there is another who can be diagnosed with cancer, go through the exact same treatment, and never miss a beat of their regular vibration, meaning their default vibration life. It's just something else they're moving through. So the idea of suffering is a matter of judgment. And anything that's a matter of human judgment is not something that we are going to place our focus upon, because that is part of your human experience. And we are not about holding you away or any being away from their physical experience. We are not judging the physical experience the way humanity judges the human experience. And notice that humanity judges the physical experience differently and very often more harshly than any other being in your environment. Your pets generally do not suffer the way that you do with their ailments or their setbacks or the things that, when you place human emotion upon your pets or the animal world, you are doing them a disservice by placing that judgment upon them. We do not place that judgment upon any creation, because regardless of how humanity judges the experience, it is indeed an expansive experience. And the concept of pain and suffering and trauma and all of that is human creation. You were speaking before we arrived about what is the matrix and what is not the matrix. That is all very much part of the matrix. The matrix serves humanity. You're all in it to some degree. But the more polarized you are, the more judging you are, the more fearful you are, the more you're needing other beings to have the experience that you wish for them to have, the more you are operating in the matrix. It is your choice to be there. There is no penalty or punishment for being in the matrix whatsoever. The experience of being in the matrix, however, very often results in more things of like fear and judgment, more things to be fearful about, more things to be judged about or be judgmental about. And there is judgment attached to the idea of compassion, because that means you are judging their experience. And we very well understand your perspective in that if you view one that is suffering, you want to help in their suffering. We are not going to hold you away from that either. Do what you need to do or what you are guided to do to help in their suffering, but understand that your desire to help in their suffering is very much rooted in your ego more than in your source consciousness. Because in your source consciousness self, that space of joy, clarity, and abundance that you all seek, you are less judgmental of the other's suffering naturally. You are allowing of it. You are appreciative of it, meaning deep understanding, not that it's something that you necessarily desire for them. Of course you do not. But the semantics of all of these words can really get twisted around. That's why we go into such detail describing these things, because the idea of a loving source energy, you would expect to be compassionate. But if you're utilizing a definition of compassion that includes anything other than full-blown appreciation of, then you are moving away from that which you call source. You are moving back into ego, back into the matrix, and there is judgment attached to it. have the experience that you want, be as compassionate as you desire to be, but understand what it's really rooted in.
I'm curious about, so compassion is, if compassion is a form of judgment still, or a judgment on what is happening, what is it, how should we show up for someone if they're suffering? That's not in our ego. That's
The,
truly from the heart.
in your and this is where the matrix really operates in reverse of universal law, because in your egocentric need to save them from the experience and judging their experiences as less than ideal, you are offering less to them than you are in your high vibrational appreciation of them in their journey, even in their suffering. The high vibrational appreciation of them will connect you to your own version of this, your own source connection. And in your own source connection, you will always know in that moment exactly what to communicate, exactly what to offer, exactly what to do, because you've moved out of your ego in your appreciation of them, even in their suffering. You've moved into your source or your soul consciousness or your higher self, all the same thing. You've moved into that higher vibrational space, and the words and the actions and the deeds will follow that higher vibration of appreciation for exactly where they are and what they're experiencing.
I get it. I get that. So I just want to convert that really quickly for you all that are listening, because I felt it. What the stream said was simple. That rather you'll feel it. Imagine this, somebody's there, rather than judging it, you just feel the pull to hug them. I had this happen with Josie's sister, whose daughter just passed away. I wasn't feeling compassion, I wasn't feeling anything. I just felt this need to hug her. That's all. To just be present with her. And that's what I'm feeling, like a big hug right now. Is everybody else feeling this big hug and understanding the difference between the just feeling compassion and actually feeling the beingness of the other human? It's quite profound. Thank you. So
The high vibration of appreciation is largely misunderstood. That when many hear that, the first thing they will respond with is, "How could I possibly appreciate X, Y, Z?" But you can appreciate anything in your environment. You have just been trained not to. And in your being trained not to, understand that anything less than appreciation begins to lower in vibration. And that lower vibrational focus is fuel for exactly the thing you wish to eradicate. Very often you're fueling it through this, especially when you get into that vibration of demonization. This should not be. That should not happen. This should not be this way. You should not be suffering this way. That is not appreciation. And you are not offering as much in that space as you are when you are in a high vibration of appreciation. And again, appreciation is defined by us as deep, authentic understanding that they are in suffering, but
yeah,
also understanding that it is not your place to attempt to end their suffering for them or fix them in any way. Notice how the fixing of others rarely goes the way that you want it to go. It is all about your ego. I am the savior. I am the one that is going to be the one that's going to fix this for them, and I am going to save them from their experience, and I am going to place myself on a pedestal in the process of doing that. There is far more power in the high vibration of appreciation, understanding that their soul chose to walk this path and have the unique journey that that being is having in physical. That journey is not judged in the energetic realm the way that humanity judges it. And humanity's judgment of the human journey or the physical journey of any being in your environment is learned. That is the matrix. You have been taught that you are supposed to think this and not that, that you're not allowed to appreciate this, that once you're a victim, you're always a victim, and you must stay in the victim vibration, and you must be focused on your victim vibration for the rest of your life, and wear these labels and these all of these diagnoses and things like a badge of honor. But you're weighting yourselves down with these things. It does not have to be that way. You can move from experience to experience to experience, understanding that your physical journey is always exactly a collection of experiences, and that is it. It is not this linear timeline of a difficult journey or a painful journey or a traumatic period, and it just keeps repeating itself over and over and over again. The reason that that occurs is because you have not gone into detuning it via radical appreciation of it. And we say radical because it is very radical to the matrix. To appreciate something that caused suffering, to appreciate someone that co-created suffering, to appreciate your own input in creating whatever experience that you had. And this is not about blame or fault at all. This is about understanding that you are in this vibrational environment, moving through vibrational flow, which you all are, and you're all very aware of that because your emotions follow your vibration, and you're aware of your emotions. You know when you feel good, you know when you feel less than that. You know when you feel depressed, you know when you feel anxious or stressed out. Those are all vibrations. And you're never in the same vibration day after day after day because you're in a polarized environment. Your vibration is flowing. Since your vibration is flowing, you are all attracting various things from various levels of vibration naturally. This is why every single one of you that ever hear this message can confirm that you have received some positive things in your lifetime and you have received some negative things in your lifetime, some unwanted things in your lifetime. All of you have. Now, if you are operating in a steady low vibration or a default low vibration, you may not have access to those positive things. You may have to really seek them out, or they may be such a distant memory that they anger you as well. But that is only a sign of your current vibration. Notice how you feel different about your manifestations and about your life journey thus far, depending on your mood in the day. You're vibrational beings always.
Fantastic. Let us know how that's resonating. And I'm loving all the questions. So, Melanie wants to know, when is the solar flash?
You will need to define your version of that because there is a science fiction version of that, and there's a scientific theory around that. But all of it is a matter of you connecting with the energetic realm and understanding that your version of the energetic realm is unique to you. So if you have more of a scientific idea of this solar flash is going to happen and it's going to create a certain set of circumstances for planet Earth and beyond that, then you need to get more definitive in exactly what you're expecting from that. But if you're thinking more in terms of what might be labeled science fiction, something that most people don't even believe in, something that your belief system is allowing for you, that is going to be more in alliance with your personal belief system and how you are interacting with the energetic realm. We are here to tell you not one of you is insane. There is no such thing as that. Not one of you is a spiritual kook. There is no such thing as that in our realm. You are all having a physical human experience and interacting with the energetic realm to varying degrees. So your interaction with the energetic realm, whether it's something that you just have always been able to do naturally, or it's something that you do when you go into a deep state of meditation, or it's something that you interact with when you are consuming something that intentionally takes you there, that experience is authentic. Always. It is authentic for you and it is absolutely your physical being interacting in some way with the energetic realm. But understand that you are in a physical human body and you are interacting with the energetic realm from the human perspective. So in your limited human perspective, and we don't say limited to judge you, we tell you that you're limited because your intention in coming to your environment, planet Earth, as a human being was intended to be limited and focus on being a human being on planet Earth, moving through what you perceive as a linear experience and having your own unique journey. And in that journey, you've created an operating system for yourself, which is very much like the operating system in your computer. In fact, you are not far off from the technology that you are creating computers with now. And that operating system is your belief system. And that belief system has a set of rules and boundaries that you've created for yourself. And your mind has a set of images that delivers a version of the energetic realm that you can interact with. So when you ask questions such as that, very often you have consumed enough material in your brilliant curiosity that you are wanting to know when this specific theory or this specific event is going to transpire. Understand that in our realm, there is no linear time. you are not going to get a definitive date or quantity from us on anything, because everything that is happening simultaneously. You are perceiving in linear time. So your perception of any galactic event can be your own perception, or it can be a collective consciousness perception, but it will always be a perception, even if it's labeled science, even if it's labeled exact science, which is actually an oxymoron, as many of you understand, because science is always evolving. So no matter how it's labeled, it could always be labeled fiction or it could always be labeled fact, but it is all the same in the energetic realm.
Wow, thank you. And Melanie, thank you so much for your questions and comments. Let us know how that's resonating. I want to jump over to Joe Sliker. He says, I'm curious about the stream's take on astrology and what the stream thinks of people having characteristics based on what time of year they were born. Great question, Joe.
The astrology is humanity's study of vibrational flow. You are all operating in vibrational flow, as we were describing earlier. So we will not go back over that again for you because we've already offered that in this interaction. But that study of vibrational flow that we were speaking of, that's very much attached to your mood and your point of attraction, astrology is exactly that. Because that vibrational flow is creating the movement of what you call your universe, your solar system. That movement, that repetition of your solar system is vibrational flow, is a belief system that is created in what you call your solar system, that these events are going to transpire, and it's going to transpire in a regular way. Humanity has begun exploring that and gone deep enough into that exploration to notice these similarities among beings that emerge at specific times. Similarities that beings that emerge in specific years hold with one another, not just the day, but the year. And certainly that month, that calendar month, and the different vibration of each of those is going to create a set of circumstances. And you all choose your point of entry vibrationally. You choose your point of entry aligned with a set of circumstances. And your point of entry includes every aspect that is you. Your astrological sign is a very good study of that. Is it exact? Again, there is no such thing as exact science. There is no such thing as exact science. It's all evolving all the time. But there are beings among you who have gone so deep into this practice, into this study, and so many give it so much power that it has the power that is given to it by the collective that follow it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That does not make it any more or less valuable. You have created an environment for yourselves, and this is part of the matrix, that you've come so far into your creation that whatever you choose to give power to is going to work for you. If you choose to give power to astrology, that's going to work for you. If you choose to give power to some sort of past life exploration or future existence exploration, that is going to help you. If you choose to give power to Christianity, that is going to work for you. Whatever it is, whatever human created study of the energetic realm that resonates with you, that you are authentically aligned with, will assist you in your journey. And where we guide all of you is to be fluid in your journeys, understanding that you weave in and out of teachings, you choose what resonates with you and what to give power to, and to be very open and very fluid about that. As long as our message is resonating with you, you are right to pay attention to it. As long as our message is resonating with you, you are right, if you so choose, to be a Taya practitioner, or a Tayist, as many of you are calling yourselves now. But understand that we are not here to deliver any set of rules. We are not here to deliver any sort of deity type likeness or message, or be worshiped in any way or obeyed at all. We are not here telling you that there is a singular path to some sort of salvation, because that does not exist anyway. The concept of what transpires after your death, it is our promise to you, regardless of how you operate your human journey, you emerge into a state of awareness that is all seeing, all knowing, and not operating in the matrix any longer, no longer impacted by fear and judgment.
Wonderful. And Melanie, I'll get to your next question shortly. I'd like to bring up Francois. If we are choosing our point of entry and our menu of experiences before we are born, does that mean we already begin with preferences from source perspective and not all things are equal?
We will begin by answering the end of that. You are correct, and nothing is equal because you're all here on unique journeys. You are all strands of eternal consciousness projecting in to a point of entry that is your vibrational alignment. And the vibrational alignment, what we have to offer that is within your capacity to fully grasp, that vibrational alignment is about the level of sophistication you are seeking in the experience, meaning the strands of consciousness that are seeking what you might consider a more advanced experience or more sophisticated experience. We do not judge it that way. We do not judge it at all. When you're seeking that type of experience, a strand of consciousness is more likely to align with a more difficult path from the onset. The parents who are not ready to be parents, the sick physical vehicles, the poverty, all of these circumstances that some are born into that may in the matrix seem like a curse are an exact vibrational alignment with the strand of consciousness who is seeking that type of journey. But the magic in all of this is, and this is very important because if you're listening to this, we want to be very, very, very clear with you that the idea of a preset path beyond that spark of what you call conception is not accurate. The concept of the soul contract is just what we have described. That is the strand of consciousness seeking a level of sophistication, a level of difficulty, if you will. That would make more sense in your terms. And vibrationally aligns with a path of chance, which they all are, and then manifests into that path. Understanding that regardless of what transpires in the journey, expansion will be offered in the experience. So the one that projects in conception and does not come to term for one reason or another has an experience. That is a vibrational physical experience for that strand of consciousness. It is not mourned in the energetic realm. It is not seen as sad or anything of that nature in the energetic realm. It is exactly the experience that is offered. There's no judgment around it whatsoever. And the soul will reemerge into the energetic realm, no longer in physical, and fully appreciate the limited but expansive experience that was had. So from there, from birth, especially when you really begin absorbing your environment and you become separate from your mother's physical vehicle, then you start really soaking in your environment and you begin really discerning your preferences. And there are things that please you right off the bat, and there are things that do not please you, and there are things that frighten you. And you begin building your operating system yourselves. You create this human operating system, and it is a combination of the circumstances that you were born into. It is absolutely impacted by your DNA, if you will, and it is absolutely positively impacted by your own unique strand of consciousness, plethora of experiences, infinite experiences in physical. That's what makes you all unique strands of consciousness. That's why two physical journeys are never the same in an infinite universe.
Wow. So let us know how that's resonating. And actually, Melanie's question was about soul contracts. Can you cancel them?
The only soul contract is the point of entry, and if there's a cancellation, it is the disconnection from the physical vehicle. The idea of the idea of a soul contract that you must come and live these exact circumstances is not how the energetic realm operates. Your path of chance creates your reality and creates your expansion. And there are infinite chances in every minute speck of a moment, always, endless. That's why when you seek for another being to predict something in the future for you, It is more about the power of suggestion than anything else, because they are only able to read the current vibration that you are in. So the idea of this is your path and you must experience it, think about the expansion that would be offered in that. It's predetermined, it's preset. You are just coming and going through the motions. How would you expand in the experience of that from a soul level? If your soul knows what your physical being is going to experience, how is the soul going to expand? The soul expands by coming and forgetting that it's an eternal strand of consciousness in this human form, moving through contrast, overcoming obstacles, moving through even traumatic experiences, and re-emerging into non-physical and fully understanding that every single experience, when you withdraw judgment and fear, essentially judgment, is just an expansive experience. It made you a more sophisticated version of you. And your soul is made whole again, and certainly more sophisticated, expanded, if you will, in the having of those experiences and coming and being a physical being, experiencing the contrast of physical, which does not exist in the energetic realm, and crafting new thoughts, new ideas, thus new creation because of the perceived obstacles. You all have things that you discern as your preference, and you wish to journey toward them always. And in your journey toward them, you are always going to meet twists and turns and obstacles. Always. It is guaranteed. No matter who you are, no matter how perfect the life looks externally, every being has obstacles. Every being experiences these twists and turns. Every being has what you might call the dark night of the soul moments, multiple times. And in those moments, you become more sophisticated strands of consciousness. But what we are here to share with all of you is that you can allow anything that you have encountered as a human being, anything, to make your human being a more sophisticated version of itself, not a more damaged, downtrodden, depressed, broken version. The Matrix teaches you that. Be broken, be damaged. This was so bad this happened to you. You are a victim forever now. The person that did this to you was a monster and should be judged harshly. That keeps you in that matrix. That keeps the trauma alive. That keeps all of the painful aspects and holds you away from any deep understanding of it. When we say radical appreciation, we are speaking to deep understanding of it. And when you find authentic appreciation for any transgressor, any, then the gifts that were offered in whatever that scenario was begin to show themselves to you. And it is our promise to you that when you do that work, you will always find the gifts. It may take longer. Some things may be more painful to go into than others, certainly. But ultimately, you can begin to do the work. We do not necessarily guide you to start with your most difficult topic. Start with the smaller things. Start seeing how it works for you. And then understand that as you systematically detune fear and judgment, you will ultimately move into a vibration where you are ready to face and even find appreciation for any aspect of your life and even any aspect of humanity. Because in the energetic realm, none of it is judged as bad or wrong or evil or any of those things. The concept of evil is a human created concept. And it is always born of egocentric activity or thought void of source.
Wonderful. So I would like to uh, share Earl's comment and then his question. His comment is, what is being taught resonates so much it feels like I know my soul, like you are just reading what's written on my spirit wall. The question Earl has is, I want to know, is there a limit to our expansion?
No. The very simple answer to that is no. The universe, even your scientists are now stating that the universe is ever expanding. That expansion, there is no outer limits to the universe. And as a human being operating in a finite environment, the concept of infinity is a bit beyond you, and that is by design, because you're experiencing the limited environment of planet Earth. That is giving you this journey, providing for you this journey that we speak to. But what is beyond physical is truly infinite. In fact, physical creation is truly infinite. There is no beginning, there is no end. The only shift is a constant shift in sophistication through these infinite expressions in physical, becoming more sophisticated versions of themselves, re-replicating in a more sophisticated way from the experience that is offered. And it seems like we're speaking to linear time, but we are not. There is no linear time, but there is increased sophistication. That increased sophistication is expansion. That expands the universe. And it is a bit beyond your comprehension how something that is infinite would have a place to expand to, but it's becoming more sophisticated. Think of your human journey. Think how as you have different experiences, especially those that you ultimately appreciate. You move through a career path or a relationship or a financial struggle, and you move through the experience, and you are made smarter, wiser. You learned some things from the experience, or it led to you manifesting something that was more to your liking. And you look back in appreciation of those experiences. You say, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. I was suffering in the moment. It seemed like the end of the world, and it ended up being the best thing ever. You all have an experience of that nature. It is part of your makeup of your world. If you're not seeing it, that's just a sign of your current vibration. Move your vibration up a bit, and you will find some of that in your lifetime, regardless of how long you've been in physical, in linear years. So understand that these experiences that you move through that cause you to solve, that cause you to think, that cause you to have to shift around and make peace with, and all of those processes that you all go through just naturally, that is you becoming a more sophisticated version of you. You are expanding your being as a human being. You may indeed not be taking up any more physical space. Your head does not necessarily grow because you become wiser, but it's become more sophisticated. And then when you've reached a certain level of sophistication, there are so many things that you can speak to. Being abused, I can talk to that. I have been in that situation. Being addicted to something, you say, I can speak to that. I've had that experience. Being treated poorly, being fired from employment, going broke, having an overdrawn bank account, being stranded in the middle of nowhere, being terrified, all of these experiences that you all have. Once you have the experience, you can commiserate, you can speak to, you can identify with. They are making you more sophisticated versions of you. But the matrix teaches you to judge these things so harshly that very often you stay in that step one judgment mode of it, and then end up manifesting things of like nature again and again and again and again. And the path out of it is authentic appreciation. Because once you authentically and learn to, and we stress authentically, we are not speaking to what you call spiritual bypassing, shedding love and light and puppy dog tails and all of these things. All of that feels good on the surface, but if it keeps coming back and coming back and coming back, you have not authentically detuned it. You have not authentically moved into authentic appreciation of it.
Okay, so Melanie wants to know what, first, let me address your question earlier before I get to this one. The question earlier was about helping people get into treatment. Now, I'm assuming that you mean uh, drug and alcohol addiction, mental health, things like that. What, where's our, that was the question.
We are not here to judge any of your activities. If you feel so guided to help someone seek treatment, then follow that path. But understand there's a difference in helping them seek treatment in your judgment of them as having a experience that you do not wish for them to have, and trying to force them into something that they are not yet vibrationally aligned with. Most of you viewing this understand that that is not a recipe for success. But in your deep, authentic appreciation of them, if they are willing and seeking treatment, or you are willing to at least offer a path to it for them, we are not going to judge that. But the success of that is going to be up to the being that's having the experience, not you.
Wonderful. And I do see everybody here tonight, John and Allison and Melanie and Shar, and beautiful, beautiful comments and great feedback. So please just keep letting us know how everything is resonating. Um, the other question that was asked is what about our bodies turning crystalline, changing, aging, stuff like that while we're here on Earth?
What you call the aging process, we will start with your strand of consciousness, your eternal soul consciousness that we have referred to often in this interaction. Your strand of consciousness did not intend to come and have a forever human experience. By design, the beings on your planet by design have a beginning, middle, and end experience in terms of the complete physical connection. And of course, your environment is designed for the larger part of your consciousness to withdraw from your physical vehicle at some point of your choosing. And in that withdrawal, your physical vehicle returns to the earth environment. Notice that your earth environment is a perfectly designed, self-sustaining ecosystem. Life feeds life. Your physical vehicles were designed to feed back to planet Earth and empower planet Earth. In fact, many of your health issues that are swirling around in your current vibration are due to the fact that you have this belief system that you are not allowed to return your physical vehicle directly to planet Earth. You are preserving it. You are doing all of these things out of reverence to a being that is no longer present. That is a choice, but understand that creates a bit of disruption that has created some disruption in humanity's physical vehicle development, if you will, evolution. But the idea of something turning the aging process, that is more of a mental mindset process than anything else, because your belief system is creating your physical vehicle. And we will be the first to state, however, that you can manifest anything that you can bring yourselves to authentically believe and hold that belief long enough to create a vibration. So there are plenty of things in the matrix that you have all been taught that are such widely held belief systems that, yes, you see these miracle stories of beings disrupting that belief system and healing themselves from all sorts of things that your medical community does not think possible. It happens all the time. But it's moving beyond that authentic belief system. It's authentically going into a level of belief that is knowing, not just I wish this would be. I wish it really hard. It's not the same thing. So yes, you are creating your own aging process. But what happens is that a being projects into an environment. In your case, a human being projects into planet Earth. You are a product, and we touched on this in the astrology discussion. You are a product of your point of entry and your time of entry. You are born up to speed with the time that you project into. That is why there is always a generational divide. That is why parents deliver contrast to children, regardless of how much they love them and desire to be the perfect parent. You're going to screw up your children no matter what. Your parents are going to deliver contrast to you no matter who they were or how they were, because there's a generational divide. Your operating system is not the same as theirs, and it's certainly not the same as your grandparents' operating system. So what happens is you age through life if your belief system is allowing you the aging process. And in the aging process is a combination of your ego driving you forward and your soul consciousness calling you forward. But that can be disrupted, and the aging process could be ended with the death experience at any time. But those of you that move from decade to decade to decade, notice that there's a tipping point where your world starts to evolve faster than you are. Your technology picks up speed. And those of you that have crossed the threshold of 50, 60, 70, and 80 understand exactly what we are speaking to, because the world starts to get away from you a bit and you start to age out of your environment naturally. You begin to feel tired. You begin to manifest aches and pains. The matrix is usually not helpful with that because it is so laden with a double sorted message of aging bad. And here's so much advertising and media about stopping all of these disorders that you all develop. But the disorder development is all a product of the matrix and a belief system. You can move through your life journey in health and grace and ease. You can somewhat disrupt the aging process by not caring about it one way or the other, just allowing whatever is shall be instead of fighting and battling. The fighting and battling is your choice, but understand that the fighting and battling is usually going to fuel more of. So in this aging process, you see your world beginning to get away from you a bit, and you begin to disconnect from it. And sometimes that disconnection happens over a very long period of time. Sometimes that disconnection happens to a body that is so healthy that a diagnosis is given of some sort of disorder where the mind is no longer present. It's the consciousness that is disconnecting in that case. That's why it's so difficult for your medical community to solve, because it's a natural process of disconnection. And it's viewed as sad and should not be and needs to be stopped. But that individual, that eternal strand of consciousness, is simply withdrawing over a very slow period according to your linear time and your judgment of it in a slower way. Just like the ones that emerge with these disorders that are becoming more prevalent as the matrix heats up a little bit, they're having an experience. These diagnoses of the beings that are not quote unquote normal. There is really no such thing as normal. There is no black, there is no white, there is no right, there is no wrong. Everything is gray. But notice the matrix teaches you that you have to pick a side on all of this and have an opinion and have a diagnosis, and you have to go get into the matrix, and you have to operate your lives in a certain way. And if you're not able to operate your life in the way that we tell you you're supposed to, we're going to hang a label on you. So to move beyond the physical lifetime through the fact that your physical vehicles were designed to be returned to the earth environment, as all physical vehicles are, and understand that the decomposition process that occurs to a physical vehicle is a natural process of that returning to earth. You even have a saying, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That is a natural process of the physical vehicle, and it turns to dust, and eventually that dust will form into something different than that, and in forming into something different than that will over time harden, and in that hardening process under certain conditions will create different things, and these things have a higher vibration. Understand that the oil that fuels so much of your creation is a higher vibration than is often thought of, because that is decomposed matter, meaning decomposed life, all life, a composition of all over a period of time, certainly. But Earth operates in linear time. It really is a matter of sophistication, a substance that becomes more sophisticated, buried in your planet. But it wasn't always buried. It was the surface at one time. And what you perceive or what you label as crystals and things of that nature, you're seeing decomposed beings compressed, if you will, under enough pressure to create something of a very high vibration. That's why you appreciate these things so much, and understand that when you view something, and the collective of humanity tends to consider something like a diamond or a crystal more desirable than a clump of dirt or even oil, that's a vibrational alignment based on the conditions that object was created in. It is a preference, nothing more, but it's a vibrational preference indeed. So yes, you will all turn into dirt. You will all turn into dust. You will all turn into diamonds or oil or any of these things and regenerate again and again and again. And we were speaking to the physical versions of you. The eternal versions of you are long, we will not say gone, because the eternal version of you is omnipresent. That's why the eternal version of you, the consciousness that is you, is withdrawn from the human ego, but is still present in the physical vehicle. But that does not mean that the physical vehicle needs to be prized or preserved you would all be well served to simply return it back to planet Earth in the most natural way you can.
Beautiful. Well, we are coming up on the hour. Is there any last words before we end?
We have shared quite a bit in this journey, and we will return the gratitude to all of you for asking the questions and summoning all of the information that you have summoned in this interaction. As always, we guide all of you that participated in this or are participating in the future to watch back a few times, because there is so much offered in so few words that this interaction for many could be absolutely mind-boggling or absolutely silly, depending on the perspective. But if you're giving this power, and if this is connecting the dots for you and it's lighting you up, then you are aligned with the teachings and you're absolutely in the right place. And you are all very aware that you do not find yourselves in an interaction such as this by accident. There's a vibrational alignment of some sort that drew you into this, that drew out this interaction, that extracted all of this information, if you will. With much love, that is what we have.
Whew! Welcome back. Welcome back. So, for everybody that was here tonight, thank you so much. And great comments and questions. And John Fiore, I'm really glad that when you come that you're gonna come back as a pineapple, not one that's put on pizza. I can guarantee it.
I'm laughing because I was aware that the stream used the term puppy dog tails, and you know what they were talking about? They were talking about the tail of a dog. They were talking about the dog story we were telling.
Oh, the puppy dog tail.
I was present enough where I heard that, and I was like, that they're going to think they're talking about the tail of a dog.
I'm that's just so funny.
They were talking about that sort of funny conversation we were having before they came in. Puppy dog
So
tail.
that
I was kind of like, wait, what was that just came out of my mouth?
I'll tell you what. Earl, you know what? You can find this episode to reshare on YouTube at the Stream of David or on Facebook, the Stream of David. And I really want to encourage everybody here who has not joined the Taya practice. It's on Facebook, and you just go ahead and type that in and join the Taya practice group. Come on in and get involved. And we're going to be back next week. I want to say that Earl and a couple other people here had asked a question about suicide and if time is in fact real or not. So let's keep those questions for next week on Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And 8
Debbie
p.m.
will remember. I won't, but Debbie will remember it. The stream will probably.
Yeah, I'm going to keep a note because I'm not going to remember. Just saying. The stream will remember. Actually, there was a couple of them, of course. Again, I didn't even get to ask the question, and the stream interwove it like magic. You guys are all magic, and I appreciate you so much. But before we go, you need to draw a name because somebody won a free ticket.
We have 2 names. I have a drawing to do. Yeah, so we do a master class. We're doing them every month now. So, and we've done. We're changing the master class. So the next one's going to be all different. So every time we do a master class, we encourage everybody to stay to the end. And those people that are on all the way to the end, we tell them to go post their biggest takeaways from the masterclass in the group, just to raise the vibe of the group for the day and to get other people, interested in watching the replay of the masterclass. And then we do a drawing. And for the drawing, we give away a ticket to one of our live events. So it's $197 value to attend a live workshop with us. So, and they get to choose the event of whatever they want. So we have one coming up in New York, we have one coming up in London, and we have Sydney, Australia coming up this year. And we're also going to offer an online, like a recorded version of it. And you can use your ticket for that if you just can't get to those locations, because you get the entire 2-camera edited sort of documentary video of these things. So the first winner is from January is Deborah Lynn Dumeyer. I see Deborah in here a lot, but Deborah, you're the winner from January. Mm-hmm. And from February, Bridget, aka Sage Green. She just graduated boot camp.
Okay, that's Rockstar. She's so cool too.
Yeah. So Bridget won, and Deborah Lynn.
That is awesome.
So those are our winners. So you choose how to use a $197 ticket to one of our live events. I know Bridget is up near New York, so that's perfect timing for her. Deborah, if you're in the U.S. on the East Coast, we're coming to New York, and you can come see us April something, I believe. It's not set in stone yet, but I believe it's April. So those are our two winners. And if not, Deborah, you can do the online version of it, or you can see us in London or Sydney.
Yep. That was absolutely fantastic. I have to say, Allison, I got to tell you, this one cracked me up. It's she so the stream was saying my favorite phrase of the night was the compressed decomposed beings that make up the crystals. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, so there you go. I love
Yeah.
that.
So that's
Straight
what
from
we
the
all turn
stream.
into over time. Either
I love
crystal or
it.
oil or
I
something in
love
the
my
core.
carnelian.
Well, the stream has said that planet Earth started out as a speck of dust. It wasn't just a sudden formation of a clump of something or a planet that just happened. It may be perceived as some big bang, but it started out as a speck of dust.
Well, you
And
want to be
obviously, it's changed enormously in sophistication. I have to remember to speak in terms of sophistication, not time. But to us, it's time. I get it.
well. If anybody's curious, go watch The Fabulous Fungi. F as in Frank, UNGI. Go watch it on Netflix and get mind blown. And then think about this what the stream was talking today,
I have to go
saying
watch that
today.
tonight. The
Put the
Fabulous Fungi.
fabulous. Oh, get ready to be blown away. It
Cool.
is absolutely phenomenal. Fabulous Fungi, everybody. It's just a great movie. I am going to be live. I'm going to do a blurb on March 5th. March 5th on Unify, I'm starting Women Rising again. So I just have to let you guys know. And even though it's Women Rising, I still want the stream to come in and share. Just keep your
Well, the
eyes
stream
peeled.
is not a gender, so
That doesn't count, right?
that's why we say they. We were saying they
And
before it was popular to call people they.
oh my God, that's freaking funny. And
Think
that
about it.
is so true. That is
Yeah.
so true. I love you guys. Congratulations to the winners. You guys rock. Thank you for being at the masterclass. Watch for the new masterclass coming up, and we will see you all next week. I feel like
Bye,
saying two
everybody.
and two.
Thank you,
Bye.
Debbie.
Two and two. But we're not coming back, so we can't.